So my name is Lucretia Chapetta, and I am the co-chair for EcoCaledon. So EcoCaledon is a local nonprofit organization that's been championing climate action in the town of Caledon since 1995. Originally started as Citizens for a Clean Caledon, we were established to advise the town council on a proposed landfill site here in the area, but that's grown to be so much more, and now we focus on so many different environmental issues, including climate change, transportation, energy and water conservation, food-related climate solutions, and waste reduction. So EcoCaledon is made up of a wide variety of Caledon-based residents, and what happens in an organization like ours, you don't want to have just environmentalists or just educators. You need a wide variety of disciplines in order to not only design, but also to facilitate our different either workshops or campaigns. So we have everybody from educators, people working in politics, architects, business people. It really requires everybody with different knowledge bases to come together to really pull together the types of activities that we run here in the town of Caledon. Sure, so EcoCaledon over the last 27 plus years has run a number of different campaigns, from rain barrels. So we actually repurpose old olive barrels into rain barrels, and for a while we had a collaboration with the Toronto and Region Conservation Authority where we would auction off those, they would be painted by local students with a water conservation theme, and then they would be auctioned off, and that money would go to providing bursaries here to the 4 high schools in the town of Caledon. In addition, we do waste reduction workshops, partly in partnership with the region of Peel, where we actually went into schools and did waste reduction workshops for all the different grade levels, as well as whole school waste reduction challenges. And now we have two or three different subcommittees that focus on one, food-related climate solutions. So we would do workshops on reducing food waste, on plant-rich diets, on composting, on regenerative agriculture, which are all climate change solutions that people can have a big impact on and also contribute in a positive way to the planet. We did a great campaign called Just Eat It Caledon, where we got funding through the Town of Caledon Green Fund grant, and we were able to engage over 100 Caledon families in over 5 weeks on different strategies to help them reduce their food waste at home, which then has not only the benefit of reduced food waste, but it has the benefit of reduced greenhouse gas emissions. It has the benefit of good quality food not going into the waste, and obviously the financial benefit, because if you're not throwing the food out, then you're not wasting the money that went into buying that food. We also work on a subcommittee called Caledon Reduces, so that focuses on everything waste related, whether it's promoting bring your own containers or friendlier options like friendlier containers. We partner with schools and other local groups like the Caledon Library to bring in TerraCycle boxes to help reduce waste that would normally go to the landfill that doesn't necessarily go into a blue box or a compost bin. We do repair cafes, which have been pretty popular over the last year, where we engage residents in the community that have maybe a particular skill, whether it's fixing electronics or whether it's mending or stitching, and we promote it to the community, and community members can come and they can bring their either broken or torn items, and they could learn how to fix it with another member of the community. So that's been pretty popular over the last year especially. And we also now have a subcommittee that focuses specifically on planning and policy. So we collaborate with the town, with the region, with our conservation authorities in order to help build a more sustainable Caledon. We're busy, and I know a lot of people probably say that things slowed down during the pandemic, but for EcoCaledon especially, I think things really picked up. We've been able to realign ourselves with current science. So based on what the current IPCC report says, in addition, we've been able to expand some of our programming, focus on topics maybe that we weren't focusing on before, and also partnering. I think even though we've partnered with different groups over the years, the pandemic has really allowed us to expand our collaborations. So to find ways to work with other environmental groups, with other organizations, with different levels of government, and for finding the gaps. So when we don't have the skills or the knowledge in a particular area, like say transportation, it's a big area in terms of environmental issues. And a lot of people now, especially with the price of gas and things like that, are looking at things like electric vehicles or looking to promote more active transportation, better public transit. So we've collaborated with different groups who are more skilled in those areas. So for example, the EV Society of Caledon, and the town, we hosted a great event last summer called EcoCaledon, where we were able to promote electric vehicles, electric bikes, power tools powered by batteries rather than gas, and introduce those to the community. We had different car manufacturers come and bring their newer EV models. We had EV owners come and talk about their experience owning an electric or a hybrid vehicle. And the plan is hopefully to do that again in the fall here in Bolton. That was done in Southfields, so we want to maybe make sure that we bring it across the town of Caledon so that all residents have an opportunity to ask questions and learn more about the benefits of electrifying Caledon. EcoCaledon is a very important part of the puzzle here in Caledon. This poem from Dr. Kim Nicholas says a lot. It's bad, it's us, we're sure, but we can fix it. So climate change is a challenge like no other, and we really need everybody to come together to help tackle the climate crisis. And we know that our daily choices have a large impact on the planet, and actually individuals and households contribute approximately 45% of Canada's greenhouse gas emissions. So having a group who's focusing on local issues is incredibly important for the residents, so they have a resource to come to when they want to learn more about these particular issues, or they want to get involved, or they just need to know where to go to find the information. So we like to keep it simple for our residents. So we want to make sure that the residents of Caledon, they have the solutions, the ones that are easy and convenient for them to undertake as an individual or as a household or even as a community. And we also like to localize it. So making sure that everything that we work on has that personal focus, right? When something is happening to you, your family, or your network, it becomes a much more important issue, right? So we want to make sure that our residents are seeing the climate change impacts here in Caledon, and then what they can do to mitigate those impacts here in the town. Yeah, so geographically, Caledon is covers a large geographic area, even though, say our population right now is roughly in the 88,000, but we're expected to grow to almost 300,000. But yeah, geographically it's difficult. So what we try to do is we try to make sure that we're facilitating events and activities all across the area. So if we have an event in Bolton, so for instance, our Repair Cafe, we held our very first one in Palgrave, and our second one we held in Bolton. Our third one was held in Caledon East, and again, we'll make sure that the next round we hit like the more western parts of the area. It is difficult, being especially a mainly rural community, to engage residents. So even again through the pandemic, developing more of a virtual platform so that people could learn about the different climate solutions that they could get involved in, as well as holding virtual meetings, right? That was a big thing. We actually saw an increase in membership through the pandemic, not because people weren't interested before, but because we had shifted to a virtual platform. It allowed for more people to get involved, right? So it is definitely always a challenge, considering the size of Caledon, but we're doing our best. And the great thing is that we're not the only organization in the Caledon area that's focusing on environmental issues. Maybe we're one of the ones that are focusing on a wide variety, but there are other local groups focusing, whether it be specifically on the issues around aggregates or on forest conservation. There are a variety of groups that other individuals, and that's why partnering with them is so important, because when we don't have the answers, then they might, and vice versa. Yeah, so obviously we've got our website. If people want to learn more about EcoCaledon, we've got a website as well as different social media channels, right? We've got our Twitter, our Instagram, and our Facebook account, so people can definitely reach out. They can follow us. They can join as a volunteer. They can reach out and just say, hey, can you put me on your mailing list so that I can learn about some of these events that are coming up, right? So there's all different ways, and it's not a matter of you need to be so dedicated that you need to put in so many hours a month. It's really up to the individual. If you only have an hour a month, then that's great. We're open to all different situations, right? Whether you only have a few minutes or an hour, or you have more, then we're happy to have you join us in any capacity that you'd like. I mean, it's all about. What's that saying? We don't need a few people doing things perfectly. We need millions of people doing them imperfectly. So, just following along and learning about those different changes that you can make yourself, or, again, getting more involved, it's all relevant and important. So it's important for others to become good stewards of the earth. Everything we do has an impact on the planet, where we live, what we choose to eat, how we choose to travel, and the things that we choose to buy. According to the Global Footprint Network, we are currently using the resources of 2 planets, and that's actually the good news. If everybody in the world lived like the average Canadian, we would need 5 planets to support our rate of consumption. And that's why it's so important for others to get involved, and we need everyone to act. And like I said before, it doesn't need to be somebody who's got tons of time to get involved. And even if you only have time to sign a petition, or you have time to email your local councillor or your MP or your MPP, those are all relevant. If you have time to get more involved, great, but those are all an important part of building the future that we want to see here in Caledon and beyond.